And we are live here on the Alternative Football News Network. Harry the Boobs Bob, RJ Ciancio. We've come to talk football, football, football.
I know, shocker.
What's a shocker?
Now we're talking football. I mean, who would have guessed?
Well, hey, I had no idea. Really, I had no idea we were going to talk football here on this show tonight. I mean, what else did we talk about here? Football, yeah. A lot of things in the world of football. Not just football, though. There's other things going on in the world today, such as the price of tacos. Have you been to Taco Bell lately?
I don't think I've ever been in my life.
You've never been to. How could you not go to Taco Bell?
I'm
That's
not.
like an
I'm not.
un-American thing.
I'm not a fan of Americanized Mexican food.
Amer- Americanized Mexican food?
Yeah.
Okay, what is Americanized Mexican food?
How we Americans perceive Mexican food, basically.
How we perceive Mexican food. Okay. So, how do we perceive Mexican food here in America?
I'll put it's a lot cheaper and easier to make, like more mass production and like stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
More
So,
corporate.
corporate American food. So, we have corporate American food, American Mexican food. What is American Mexican food, though? Is it like what? Now, I know what authentic Mexican is. So, I mean, but what is Americanized? Is it like the ground beef structure or the fact they use
I'm
cheddar
not
cheese and
sure. I
not a
just
white
know it's
one?
probably
Or,
not. I've never really like been a Mexican food guy. I just know it's not as faithful as it should be.
or what's your favorite food?
Oh, easy cheeseburger. Like burgers are like the best,
That's like the
without a doubt.
quintessential American food. That's like stereotypically American. I mean, you
I
fit
mean,
the
fair.
stereotype. The stereotype.
Like, get me a cheeseburger, get me some fries, throw a vanilla shake in there, and I'm good.
What is your favorite? I'm going to weigh 375 pounds on the day I die food. There's a McDonald's, you got Wendy's, Burger King, Jack in a Box,
Five guys. Five
Five
guys.
Guys. Five Guys. I've had Five Guys. There's a couple of Five Guys here where I live. There's a couple of them.
I imagine they're pretty well franchised, though.
But so Five Guys is your favorite. They're awful expensive though for a hamburger and French fries.
Well, that's because it's so damn good.
It's not the best. I can quote much. Have you ever? You've never been to the West Coast. I know that. So you've never had an In and Out,
I
and I
mean,
know
I've been to the West Coast. I just haven't been to In and Out.
you've heard of In and Out though. Everybody should have heard of In and Out.
Yes, I've heard it. People won't stop talking about
And
it.
the name is such an oxymoron because you're never in and out. There are lines 3 blocks going like 3 miles down the street for people waiting in line to get an In and Out burger. They are good, they are tasty, but they are not the greatest hamburger on the planet. That distinction goes to a place in my locality known as Swenson's that have been in business since I believe 1939. They make this thing called a galley boy. It's the absolute best hamburger you will ever sink your teeth into. It makes your mouth, the flavor of a galley boy, it creates like this mouth orgasm. It is that delicious.
Okay.
It is just that delicious. So good. So good. Almost as
We should get
good.
football. We should get the football.
Almost as good as the Cleveland Browns not losing. Oh, wait a minute. They had a bye week, so they couldn't lose. But they did lose this week. The
They
bye week.
found a way.
They the only team in the history of football that could find a way to lose a game on a bye week. How did they do that? Baker Mayfield. Don't know who he's been hanging around, but he was quarantined all week. Steelers. Speaking of RJ Ciancio over there. Steelers. Big Ben Roethlisberger. Hey, Ben, I don't want to wish anything evil on you, but a Steelers game without you in it is a good game. Ben may be on the bench this week thanks to COVID-19.
No, he doesn't have COVID. He's deemed high risk. Um, the player has COVID is Vance McDonald, who just happens to be good friends with Ben, happens to be right next to him in the locker room. They happen to sit next to each other on the plane ride home.
They sleep in the same bed then? You said just
No,
happens. Hey, come on, LBG. we're friendly here. We're friendly. We're okay. Uh, but hey, it's Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, things are strange over there. By the way, RJ, I gotta say this. Halfway through the season, the Cleveland Browns are 5-3. What's the Pittsburgh Steelers record?
8-0, undefeated
Pittsburgh is 8-0.
for the first time in franchise history.
Yeah, for the first time in your imagination, they're 8-0. Let's go to the NFL standings. We're going to go to the horse and find out what the horse says about this for the league standings. No, I don't want your crappy thing. Let's go to the AFC North, and the
Which
Steelers
is a
are
good
eight
division this
and
year.
zero. It is. Uh, the Browns are 5-3. Bengals 2-5, and 6-2 for the Ravens. Looks like the Ravens and the Steelers are going to be duking it out at the top this year. But at eight
No,
games
Baltimore's
in,
going to fall off. Baltimore's going to fall off.
at 8 games in though, Cleveland's been playing some good football. We may get to see a classic AFC North rivalry going into playoff time with the Browns and Steelers duking it out. We'll see what
And
happens there.
we'll definitely get to playoffs later. But right now, we got to talk about the football that's being played right now, and that's in the spring league.
It's not spring. We're like a month away from winter time here. What the hell? This is not the spring. This is the late fall league right now. Anyway, yeah, and their season's just about halfway over, from what I saw.
They finish week 3. They have week 4, and then they got a championship game.
RJ, I'm not real familiar with the spring league. Why don't you enlighten? I know that they've got. I like the team names, the Jousters.
That was my team going into it, and they haven't won a darn game.
You got the Conquerors, the Jousters, the Blues. I love the logos. The Blues logo is like a shark. The Generals, harkening back to the old New Jersey Generals, seems to be with that logo.
Yep.
Very similar. The Alphas. The Alphas.
That is the most stereotypical male dorm name I've ever heard.
And then my favorite one, they have the Aviators. I love that logo. That is so sharp. All the logos for this league seem pretty cool.
They are. They somehow made the Alphas green and gray work, which is a feat all on its own. But that's what the spring league is. You've probably heard the spring league in passing over these past few years. It is self-described as an elite developmental league.
What does that mean, elite?
It's a feeder league to get people back into the NFL or CFL if they're trying to go through there. So, you've had people prior to Johnny Manziel going to the AAF where he had his little stint. He went through the spring league. You've seen some players try to get back into the NFL through the spring league. So it's really just a springboard.
Oh, well, let's do this real quick before we proceed on with anything else. Johnny Manziel, just like Chris Benoit, shall be known as he who shall not be named here on the AFNN. Okay, let's just keep it that way. He's not been good for pro football. Not in any way, shape. Everywhere he's been an issue.
You're gonna hate my article then.
I'm not gonna hate an article. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you have to admit he played for the Browns. Boom, nothing but trouble. He plays for this team. Boom, nothing but trouble. He goes up to Canada. Boom, nothing but trouble. Goes to the AAF. They fold. They fold when Manziel enters the league. What the hell is up with that? He is poison to professional football. That's my opinion, and it's the only one that matters.
You keep telling yourself that.
Hey, if I agree with you, we'd both be wrong.
I mean, true.
So, anyway, there's some news coming out right now from what you pointed out to me over on XFL News Hub. Mike Mitchell wrote an article, and this article is speculating that the Spring League CEO Brian Woods has failed to pay the league's coaches for the last couple of weeks.
You have some notable names I do want to mention. You got Jerry Glanville, who is somehow still alive and kicking. He's still coaching. I think he's just one of those guys who looked 40 when he was 20 and then just didn't age from there on out.
Or he could be like Ron Wood and Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, just be dead and not know it.
You have people like June Jones with the Conquerors. I believe he's in a coordinator role there. So they've got some big name coaches, and unfortunately, it's looking like they haven't been given the full pay that they signed on for. Now, what has been in the world of alternative football prior to this forming of a spring league with the FXFL or Fall Experimental Football League? I'm just waiting for them to start the Winter Football League and the Summer Football Alliance now. That's kind of the point. The FXFL had two abbreviated seasons, and it it's consisted of players not always getting the money they thought they were going to get. And I'm not sure what the deal was. If you know about the FXFL, it was cash strapped. Teams were coming, teams were going, teams were folding. It was not as legitimate as the spring league by a mile.
All right. Is
So
not what I'm reading is that well, it's pretty. There's a potential walkout on a unified front going on with the league right now.
that would be the worst thing possible at this point for the league. The coaches and players deserve to be paid what they signed on to be paid. I want to make that very clear. I'm looking at it from a league perspective and from Fox's perspective.
Yeah, because they paid money for the product, or at least to put them on their network. Here's my
Yeah.
question though. Why is it with all these the spring league and AAF and XFL, all these leagues are getting a lot of attention. However, the IFL, for a great example, once they get a TV deal, they fold. What is up with this? Is this
So funny story about
or
so
the AFL, not
first
the
of all,
IFL?
story about the AFL TV deal. Apparently, they were paying ESPN to show those games, not the other way around.
Well, that's not a profitable situation for them.
Exactly, which may explain why things kind of went south for the AFL there.
Wow. Anyway,
So the thing with the IFL and getting a TV deal is, you know, although indoor football is professional football, market size wise, they're in traditionally minor league markets.
hmm
A lot of MILB, minor league hockey, stuff like that, which is fine, but the networks are going to treat those markets the same way that they do with the minor league products that you normally will find in them.
you would
So that
go ahead.
and because the reason minor league sports, your ECHL, AHL, all your MILB teams have deals is because of you know the leagues actually owning them as developmental systems. Where here, as the IFL is not owned by a bigger corporation, therefore they don't have as much power to leverage a TV deal.
What gets me is you would think with the interest in these leagues that does exist that Fox or ESPN would consider launching a station just for these products where you could go and catch the minor leagues
Mm,
or these types of
see,
leagues.
I think right now your best chance is with FS1. They're backing the spring league. I think if you're the IFL, you're saying, hey, we are the longest continually operating football league um, besides the NFL in America at the moment. We saw you pick up the spring league. We sent guys to that level, and we have a very loyal fan base.
And that's a good point. That is a strong point.
So you might start them on local Fox affiliate channels to test the waters out, and if things go well, you bring them to FS1. If you don't, or they don't go horribly, keep at the Fox affiliate level.
Okay. I mean, we'll give an outlet here on AFN and network, the FN network here. They want to come talk
Yeah,
to us. Well, we're not going to pay for the games, but we'll give you a way to get them out there, and we'll promote the hell out of them. Make sure
yeah,
people watch, and we'll foot the bill for
yeah,
the TV.
absolutely. And the thing with indoor and arena ball is that the fan base isn't as large in general. It doesn't get as many casual fans. That's the thing with indoor and arena ball. as much as it has diehards, it's more of a niche product. Harry, to put it into terms that you're most familiar with, it's like, yes, ECW had a hardcore following, but when it could never really get as large as it should be now. I'm just insert Paul Heyman management of funny joke here.
Wow, that was low. Happy day after Veterans Day to all the veterans out there, by the way.
Yes, thank
Just
you for
talking
your
about
service.
a lot of stuff going on. It seems interesting to me though that every time one of these leagues get a TV deal, something goes awry. It's an interesting thing. It's like for some reason, don't know why, but for some reason they seem to go south of the border after they get these TV deals.
Well, here's what I think happens for a lot of them. I think the mass hysteria of, oh my god, a new major outdoor football league, an alternative to the NFL. Everyone's so hyped up on the adrenaline that sometimes we fail to look through the logistics of it. Like, had I known that Reggie Fowler was the main AAF investor originally, that would have been a huge red flag for me. Reggie Fowler was ousted from his NFL stakeholdings after some legal issues and not following through with the financials. So to have a guy who's kicked out of the NFL for not sustaining the cash flow he's supposed to, I don't know why you turned to him to bring him in as the main financer. And then, also, you saw this especially in the first XFL 1.0 2001. Week one, ratings were amazing. But if people don't enjoy the product, I'm not saying this was the case for the AAF, but it happens to some products. A lot of watchers are, first time watchers are your, ooh, what is this? Kind of curious watchers. And if you have a bad game, even if the product's good from there on out, you just lost a lot of potential fans, unfortunately.
Okay, going back to the spring league here. Um, do you think that if the coaches were to walk out, I mean, would this be a death knell for this league as it's a young league compared for that in most people's minds this is a new league because it's not something a lot every fan has heard of.
Yeah, it's. Uh, I think if you didn't have FS1 with the minority investment, I'd say, oh, absolutely a death knell. Death knell, not death knell. It would absolutely be the death. I think they could sustain it, but it would. They'd have to move heaven and earth to get ready, and would have to cancel the upcoming spring season that they want to play. They're also facing issues at the Alamo Dome when it comes to dates overlapping. Now, this is going to be for the week 4 games and whatnot. Um, Luckily, San Antonio has some other venues. You could go play at Alamo Stadium, which has hosted its fair of alternative teams, from the San Antonio Gunslingers to the Texas Riders to the. I know there's a minor league soccer team there. It's a nice stadium for as far as it's a huge high school stadium because Texas loves huge high school football stadiums. You have Toyota Stadium that you could go to, or you could go to Gale and Tom Benson Stadium. The thing about this during COVID era is you really don't need a huge facility because fans aren't going to be there. You just need to be professional enough so when the broadcasts show, it looks professional.
So, which one of these three would you put at the top of the list?
I think Toyota is my top pick. Because the thing with Alamo is, yes, it has a higher capacity and historical value,
Mm-hmm.
but it does have that high school track around it, and it does really show that it is a oversized high school stadium.
Now, Toyota sounds like an interesting place too because of the brand name that's on it, and that's always
Yeah,
important. A brand name like that is super important sometimes.
yeah, because if you look at most stadiums in sports now, college, pro, minor league, a lot of them have shelled out their naming rights to big companies. Which is not surprising. So when you get one without a name, it's usually for historical reasons. Uh, and that's mostly excluding college, because college is just named after alumni, and that's just how it works.
No, some colleges, not all.
It feels well, yeah. If it's not corporate, it's named after an alumni or massive donor
or coach,
or
former
coach.
coach, or you have something like OSU Stadium, which really doesn't have any name but the shoe.
Yeah, that is true. That is
I
true.
mean,
But like,
there's I
there
really don't think it's called Buckeye Stadium, as far as I can remember.
isn't. I thought it was just called Ohio Stadium.
Ohio State. It's the shoe. It's known as the shoe, and it will always be known as the shoe.
Exactly.
It's one of the oldest that are still standing, I believe.
1920s it was first built, like 1924-ish. They
Yeah.
first like, yeah.
Sooner or later, they'll tear it down and build something else. They always do. Can't leave a good thing sit. Just like Garrett Gilbert.
Yep, he got his first shot, and I was watching the game intently because again, Steelers fan, and I was I was wondering how long it would take the commentators to bring up the AAF. It took them like 20 to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who hadn't followed the AAF, where Garrett Gilbert was by far the front runner for league MVP, I wasn't surprised to see Gilbert doing that well. The Steelers gave him way too much room to get comfortable because they got all cutesy and decided not to rush him and cover the receivers, gave him time, and he has a hell of an arm. When you look at the stats, he went 21 for 38 for 243 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. They lost the game 24-19.
They
So
they lost 24-19 to one of the best teams in the history of the NFL.
from a record point, definitely. From a record standpoint, definitely. And Gilbert, they during the broadcast they won't stop talking about how Mike McCarthy was so impressed with Garrett Gilbert's ability to pick up the playbook. What a lot of people forget about Gilbert is that he's actually a veteran. He just came to the spotlight in the AAF. He was drafted into early to mid 2010s.
Yeah.
So he's been around the block and knows how to pick things up. Whereas Cooper Rush, the guy he was competing against for that start this past week,
I
much
believe
younger.
it was the Cleveland Browns that brought him into the NFL from the AAF. Am I correct?
That is correct.
And it's a damn shame that the Cleveland Browns let them go because you can see at this point in the season with Cleveland that the star quarterback Baker Mayfield isn't exactly shining the way a star quarterback should in the NFL. And his one of the best receivers in the entire league is no longer out there in Odell Beckham.
Okay, no. Odell doesn't. No, he's not one of the best receivers in the entire league. He's not top five. He's maybe top 10.
That's coming from a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, folks. Just take it for
No,
what that's worth.
no. If he was still in New York, I would have said the same thing.
Well, best doesn't always mean they're the top five. It's just one of the best in the league. And of all the receivers, being number 10 isn't all that bad, considering the number of receivers in the league.
Yeah, but like I don't know. People have hyped him up over the years to
Mm-hmm.
be this like amazing number one Pro Bowl receiver. And he's been the most overrated player of this past decade. He made one amazing catch that launched his entire career, and since then people are still riding the fumes of that hype train. I
Mm-hmm.
feel
Okay,
that's
that's
just me though.
that is fair. That is fair. Okay, now let's go back down here to the Cowboys because we know the Cowboys are having some issues. Uh, Not a stellar year for the team out of Dallas. What other,
Yeah.
what other weapons do they have there that could help them to pick this season up? They got 8 games to go. I mean, there's nobody's out of it at this point.
Especially in that division, which is like the biggest crapshoot I've seen of an NFL division in a long time.
We've got the Eagles sitting at 3-4 at the top of this league, this division. We've got well, the football team, just the football team,
So,
is sitting at 2-6. Dallas is at 2-7, and the Giants have Goliath has hit them. They're sitting at 2-7. So the Cowboys and the Giants are tied for last place in this division. We won't give them a
but
third
only
because
like a
they will
game and a
just
half back. So
yeah. No, it's let's see. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's about
it's
a game and a
close.
half. Yeah, It's not
if
that.
you're Dallas, now I pose a question to you. All right. So what? So Andy Dalton cleared concussion protocol. If he clears COVID protocol, who do you start? Do you go back to the more proven Dalton, or do you keep going with Gilbert
I think
at this point?
I think Gilbert came out and showed that he has the tools to do it. He's got all the weapons that you need. Let him play. Let him play another week and see what happens and see what he can do for your team. Because there's no, if Dalton has been infected, there's no reason why you need to put him back out there because we know now that there's a second wave of infections coming on. And they don't need that. God knows the NFL doesn't need it with all the COVID regulations they've violated over the past few month or so. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. And the thing also, this will be a topic heading into the offseason for Dallas at quarterback, because let's say Gilbert keeps up the production he had against Pittsburgh for the rest of the season.
mhm.
You enter the postseason with a dilemma. You have who was your franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott, who was on a franchise tag, may never be the same again, coming back from an extremely horrible injury. You have Andy Dalton, who was and has been a very solid but not great quarterback. Like he's been a very middle of the road solid consistent quarterback for the majority of his career. And then, again, this is assuming Gilbert keeps at the pace he's at, the hot-handed Garrett Gilbert.
Mhm.
Do you, you know, do you make a move in free agency? Do you look to the draft? Or do you just look at the quarterbacks you have and go from there?
I think right
If,
now I'd be looking for a shootout between Dalton and Gilbert. See what happens. You've got two quarterbacks. I personally feel that Gilbert's probably a little bit better than Dalton in the long run. Um, and that's just because of the wear and tear on the body Dalton's had through because he's been consistently playing where Gilbert hadn't played for a while before he hit the AAF and made a comeback.
yeah, the thing with Gilbert, I'll say, is that I don't know how high his ceiling is in the NFL. That's the big question. If you're looking at Gilbert, you're not looking at him as a franchise quarterback as much as I loved him in the AFC Apollos. He's not an NFL franchise quarterback.
And how do you know that? He hasn't had that opportunity to prove it. You give him the opportunity, and he might just prove
Uh,
that.
Listen, I'd be thrilled if he did, but let's put it this way: I wouldn't be betting on it.
You wouldn't be betting. Okay, okay.
Like I could definitely see him being a starter somewhere. It may not be the same place every year. Like if you look at the careers of Josh McCown and Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think he has that kind of NFL career in front of him. Like a really amazing second stringer, possibly first stringer, depending on where he's at, type ceiling. That's my opinion on him. Of course, it's only been one game in the NFL. Obviously, he can change things up in an instant. We've seen him play in the AAF, but just after 1 week, that's where I see him.
Well, here's a couple of things coming out of Cleveland that we should probably hit on real quick. Um, we've got Jarvis Landry stepping up to take the place at wide receiver for the injured Odell Beckham, who will not be back this year. But even better than that, if you're a Browns fan, Nick Chubb is expected to be making his return and pushing that ball down the field in the way he does, which opens up the ground game for Cleveland. Do you think that it's perfect timing? It's after a bye week. These two men are going to be coming back, and because the Browns are in a position to do something in their division. You know, they're in a spot where they can maybe if they're not walking out as a Cinderella story this year or a shocker at the top, there could be a situation where they end up being for the first time in many, many, many years ahead of most of the pack in that division. What do you think of that?
See, when Chubb comes back, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to compensate for one look down the middle Baker. That's the thing. As much as the Browns had a good season so far, Baker is not a clutch quarterback, and he'll need to win some clutch games down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to alleviate some of that stress, you need Nick Chubb to play really good football, like no breaks, no in reps or consistency, And running back is a very hard position to do that at. You're getting hammered every play, and you're going to have your off days. If you're in bad field conditions, that makes it worse. So, be cautiously optimistic if you're in Cleveland.
They're still ranked 15 in the power rankings on NFL.com. So, I mean, how many teams are in the league?
32.
And they're up there at the halfway point. So that means they're doing something right this season, which is something they haven't done right for so many seasons to be consistently ranked at the bottom and stuff, everything else
I
going.
mean, for some context, people, the last prior to this season, the last time the Browns made the playoffs was when Derek Anderson was the Browns quarterback.
Memories fill the pages of my mind. Misty watercolored memories of the way we were. I probably messed it all up, but you know what? That's the way you
You
feel when
can
you're a
fund
Browns
my
fan.
you can now donate to my hearing aid GoFundMe campaign.
Oh, hearing aid or a hearing off?
Hearing aid
Oh,
because it just got destroyed there.
okay. And there's a lot more going on in football right now. There is COVID-19 has been, and yeah,
Woo!
it's
Woo!
the thing you're not allowed to talk about on social media here on Facebook Live or YouTube, where we're also
Yeah, we
streaming
like
live
YouTube
right
is really
now.
bad about it. So we have to come up with some alternative names. We have the easy ones like the virus,
David,
the
number 19. Got the number
yeah,
19.
yep.
It's like a Jack
Anyway,
Daniels
so
bottle.
we got this illness that is really hitting the world hard. Let's just acknowledge that to anybody who's had it, currently has it, knows someone who has it. I wish you all the best, guys. We're not losing sight of that. We're just talking about how it affects the NFL right now. But we do wish you all the best in everyone's fight against it because we it's hard, and we wish you all the best. With that being said, the NFL has been ravished by this disease.
That's a good choice of word because for the size of the NFL, ravaged, it's been hit hard, harder than
Yeah.
most. I don't. There wasn't as much that happened during the MLB or the NBA season, was there?
Well, I mean, first of all, why? I mean, think about it. You're at least every play, barring kickoff, you're guaranteed 10 people running straight into each other at the line of scrimmage. So it's not a surprise at all. And there might be some exchanges going on between players there. I'll leave it at that. You can fill in the blanks. Let's play Mad Libs.
Okay.
So the NFL, seeing how much of an issue this has been, thinks in no small, in a large part to the Tennessee Titans, but also just, again, the virus being such a prominent issue, that they have unanimously voted to have a 16-team playoff if games are canceled due to COVID. Now, the NFL this year has started a 14-team playoff format where they have added a seventh seed. So three wild card teams, the four division winners, and the number one team gets a bye. The number two team will no longer get a bye. In the case of that the NFL has to do the 16-team playoff, you will have the four divisional winners and four wild cards.
16 teams or 16 game
16 teams.
teams. Well, 4 and 4 is only 8.
Yeah, eight
Oh,
per conference.
divisions, right? 16. Okay, so you're talking one for each division within the conference.
Yeah, and
So that's
I don't like that.
I see, and I had talked to you a while, much long before the season started about a season in a bubble, which was basically just a tournament. Let them play their divisional games. The guy at the top in each division at the end go on to the playoffs, and you go from there. You could have had an 8-team divisional playoff with all the top guys. Just play your home games. The two at the top at the end get to play one more time to see who gets to go on. Like a best 2 out of 3. If you beat
You
them
can't. You
twice,
can't. I don't know if you can do a best 2 out of 3 of football. I don't
Or
think you
well, the other
can.
thing would be is like, let's say, let's talk. We'll use the AFC North because that's the division I'm most familiar with, of course. The Browns and Steelers end up at 1-2. However, they both split the games during the year, so they play a runoff game. If the Steelers were to have beat the Browns twice, automatically they're going because they have the better record over that team that's at number two.
Right, right. There'd be a tiebreaker system, all that jazz.
Yeah, and I think that would be a logical way to do it. Then you have 8 teams going to the playoffs in a round robin tournament. You're done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
instead the NFL decided not to follow any common sense of the what are we expecting here and go on with the season as if it was normal.
And it would have been
Shocker,
so
didn't
fun.
work out too well.
It could have been so fun because you could have had the North versus the South in each division and the East versus the West in each division.
You could have, but
That would have been,
and but Goodell has to do things the way Goodell wants to do them.
well, Goodell doesn't know a shit ton about football, if you ask me. He just gets paid a lot of money to act like he does. He plays someone on TV.
like, like, well, I'm surprised. It's like when you remember the film Draft Day, right?
No, never seen it. Be honest.
It's about your Cleveland Browns and like how they pull off basically some Moneyball type moves on draft day. It was a fun film, but I'm surprised Roger Goodell didn't get a starring role for how much he acts.
Okay. All right.
But Ginger Hammer talk aside here, I don't like the prospect of half of the NFL making the playoffs. What's the point then? Hey everybody, at the end of the season, flip a coin. Heads you're in the playoffs, tails you're not. Okay, guys, that's good. Like the reason I liked the NFL with the 16 per conference was it's it's more elite, it's more exclusive, and you still have the chance of Cinderella stories and crazy runs from teams you don't expect coming from bad divisions. Like if you had the traditional 16 format this year in some Cinderella story that you couldn't pitch Disney because even for them it's too unrealistic, that the football team comes with Alex Smith and his bionic leg, and they come back to win the Super Bowl. Like that could still happen because someone has to win that division.
It's crazy out here in the world.
And I had enough issues with the seventh seed personally because it kind of takes some of the oomph out of being a playoff team. But if you're going to have it be 50-50, that pisses me off. It really does.
16 teams.
Way too big a number.
That's
If you were at 40 teams and said okay 8 teams, okay,
there's 8
8 teams per
divisions.
conference, sure,
There's 8 divisions. Why
yeah,
not just do the top team in all the other divisions and then the guys that are there for the in the conference whose players whose teams are the lowest among those top 8, the number ones of the in the each division or each, yeah, you know, just have those two teams come together to play for that spoiler spot, and then you have your odd man out.
yeah. There are a lot of ways to go about it, and
Because
uh,
I do feel that the team with the best record in the league should have a bye.
yeah, and like the NFL, like you'll still have home field advantage. What difference does home field advantage mean if there are like almost no fans in the building?
Exactly. But give them a bye week, give them a week off so they can get rested. That's fair.
And again, this like the 16 team playoff contingency. It's a contingency plan. If games like if like a week gets canceled due to COVID, I want to make that very clear. Otherwise, we're looking at the 14 team format. Number one seed gets a bye. 6 through 7 do not. I mean, pardon me, 2 through 7, not 6 through 7.
It's not an intelligent way to run the business or do business, if you ask me. Just have it's just not the kind of play. It's too much. It's way too much. We don't need that many teams vying for a championship because
It muddies the waters.
it does. And realistically, in wild card time, these wild cards who might have got beat by a team before them go on and have a great game and end up taking a team out that deserves to be there in those championship games.
See, but like I liked having two wild card teams because yeah, it was unpredictable, but it was controlled.
Well, we 4 teams overall. That's it, right?
For the
Wild
14
cards.
team, the wild cards, you'll have three wild cards in each conference if the season goes uninterrupted.
It's just, it
That
doesn't.
hurts saying.
It's like, so much going on, RJ. Football is an interesting thing. There's a lot of other interesting things going on, as you know, here
Yeah,
at AFN. Well, AFN Talk is actually a show that you guys watch, and
yeah.
we have go over to our website. We're working on something over there that might impress you. Maybe not impress, but at least let you guys know that we're serious about the alternative football and continuing coverage of it in the long run, not just fly by night here. We're in this for the long haul. If you check out have you looked at the website lately, RG? Did you look at it today?
I did not look at
Oh,
it
go look at it.
today.
Go look at it.
All right, you're now getting live reactions of me pulling up the website. This is now turned into a reaction video. All right, YouTube's gonna love that. They're gonna be like, the algorithm's gonna be like, oh yeah, another reaction video.
No, not exactly.
uh, yeah, I know.
Not
I'm just giving
exactly.
the algorithm crap because YouTube algorithm is a mess. There's a reason people are leaving the platform. I'll say that much. Ah, yes. So, yeah, we do. Okay, yep. I see. I see.
Yep. Folks, see this? And then when you do this, you see that little logo
You get
there?
a loading screen.
Well, yeah, you get a loading screen, but after a moment, it's going to get the AFN network, live streaming
Yep.
television for football fans.
And we got some interesting games here. If you're trying to get into the old time and historical games, we've got you covered. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, we have playlists for games from the USFL, the XFL 2001, XFL 2020. Like, we got a lot of archived games there. We got old PSFL promo package, which was a proposal that never got off the ground. A lot of interesting things over on our playlist. So go check it out if you are looking to catch up on some alternative football of old.
Definitely worth your time. And it's not going to be a YouTube channel, by the way, folks, although you'll find our videos on YouTube. A lot of what you see over there is going to be original content. We're going to dig into the history of the game. And by history, RJ, I mean we're going to go back as far back as we can go. We are going
So
to
we're
go back.
talking November 6th, 1869, first official football game.
If
Gotcha.
we can find footage, we'll show it. We'll get it out there to the people so they can see what. And look, this is going to be quick, rapid fire stuff. Sometimes we can only find 3 minutes of a grainy film from the 1940s, or there's some. I found some footage from the 30s, and it's all grainy, but we'll do our best to bring it to brighten it up, to jazz it up a little bit for you. We'll throw some music at it and throw some fancy schmancy graphics on it, and we'll bring you some interesting history from the world of professional football. Because just like with alternative, before the NFL, there were other leagues. There were many other leagues.
They were like circuits. There were the Sandlot leagues in upstate New York. There was the Ohio League. There were a lot of loosely associated groups.
Hmm. And there are a lot
There
of.
was the World Series of Football, which we lasted for a few years and which was an interesting concept.
We'll see. We're going to see what happens. We'll see if fans take to the AFN network. On top of that, we got some new programming we're working on here. I am building a new studio, and my studio should be done here by December. I'm hoping. So look forward to a lot of unique content coming from us live once the studio's in play and everything's in order, because it'll be a more energetic feel. Uh, Surprise folks with what we're up to. It's going to look It's going to be very professional. Um, we're going to take a cue from things like FS1 and Fox Sports and all the sports networks and stuff that are out there, and try to bring you coverage of the world of alternative football, indoor arena, our take on the NCAA and the NFL. Speaking of
And
NCAA, it's
oh boy, yeah, NCAA.
been good so far.
Yeah, I mean, like I was born to a household that went to schools that had like basically no NCAA representation, and like my parents weren't into it, so I'm slowly getting into it, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. I gotta say, it's fun. The rivalries are much you can count on like a rivalry game each week, which is very fun for me because that means the passion, the intensity, and some schools are saying, screw it, we're going to let everyone into the stadium, which is great for the viewing experience at home, not so great for the health and safety overall.
It depends on if people are smart enough to wear their masks in public like they should. Uh, we'll find out what happens more, but exciting stuff happening for me and my team. Of course, you might be able to guess who that is. One of the most decorated teams in the history of college football. 6-time national champions, I must say. 6 times. Uh, they also have one of the most recognizable team chants there ever was or will be. Probably the greatest of all time. RJ, if I were to see, you're not from Ohio, or else you would know it.
Yeah, but
OH.
no. Oh, great, we're spelling things out now.
Okay, see, now look, I have interviewed people like Mike the Miz Mazanin, and when I say OH to him, his response immediately is IO. I have said the same to one EC3 and got the same response. Immediately, I get an IO. You should learn it.
Yeah,
You
you
should
got.
follow the Buckeyes. They're a great team. It's a reason to love Ohio. One of the only reasons to love Ohio.
Yeah,
You're
I
in
mean
Connecticut, man.
yeah, I mean the last time we held any like we have UConn, yay.
Eh, eh, not the
Like,
best, but at least you got one. I mean, come on. How many? If you were to have two teams in Connecticut, the stadiums would be side by side, touching the borders of the state on north, south, east, and west. And you would have maybe
yeah.
what 50 people at a game, and that's this entire population of the state.
Listen, we're not Delaware or Rhode Island.
Does Delaware even have an NCAA college or any hopes of ever getting
Yeah,
to?
they do. Yeah, they do. Delaware Blue Hens. Most famous alumni, Joe Flacco.
Okay. And what about that other state you mentioned? The one that Rhode Island, was that it?
Yeah,
Yeah, Rhode Island.
they got some teams there.
The Rhode Island Roosters.
No, it's Providence. There's a college in Providence, like which is their only big city. Well, probably their only city for that matter.
we're just picking fun at people in parts of the country just because it is. It's not like California where there's a freaking football team in every city, or
No,
Texas.
no,
It
like
seems like.
the thing with California and Texas is like if they wanted to, they could secede from the U.S., start their own football leagues, and have that, and still have a very solid national football league.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. In their own nations, if they were to secede, that would be an interesting thing. But
Yeah, yeah, we're not advocating for secession. We're just saying, hey, they could pull it off.
so, what are you looking forward to this week in the world of football?
I'm hoping to see more of the spring league coming up soon. Obviously, some more NFL action. Hopefully COVID cases don't spike because I do not want to see a 16-team NFL playoff. Ugh,
You think we're going to get anything out of the XFL this week? It's
no,
been
and I
about
think that's a
once a
good thing.
month.
Yeah, they're doing. I think they're doing things the right way, keeping a lot of it internal and only releasing things enough so we stay interested, but they don't reveal too much because what you don't want to do is have them show all the cards and then you get
and that
any
goes.
rumor turned into fact by random inside sources.
Yeah, and that just goes to show that Redbird and the Rock and Company have all been they kind of studied what McMahon did and how McMahon leaked things here and there to build the league up and got the interest there. You got to admit, Vince McMahon may not be the world's greatest promoter at professional football. Okay, he may not be the best at that. However, what he
Or a
did,
phenomenal human being.
but what he did to build the NFL and to get the interest and the buzz there is exactly what's needed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but I don't attribute that. I don't attribute that to Vince. I attribute that more to Oliver. Vince was the financier of it. That was the thing.
Well, he was a pretty poor one because he pulled out prematurely. I hope he didn't. That's why he's only got two kids out here.
Yeah, Stephanie and Hunter, right?
I,
Oh, sorry, Shane.
Shane,
Sorry, Shane.
sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He did have that illegitimate child.
Well, no, that at first they said it's like it's Hornswoggle. No, just kidding. That's Finley's son. You didn't really have an illegitimate child. Ugh.
The whole thing.
That's sort.
Do you know this backstory? That was supposed to be Ken Kennedy.
Yeah, I know the backstory, and then let's just say some horrible things got in the way, and we won't go into detail on that because I don't want to get super depressing here.
Uh, It was an injury that caused Kennedy the spot that he was about to pick off, and that could have been an interesting storyline in the world of pro wrestling, which is something that isn't much interesting these days. However, we do have professional football. We have the indoor and arena leagues. We have the spring league, which isn't being played in during the spring. So the name is just
Yeah.
ironic. It's
Yep.
very ironic.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
So let's look at today. Today is the
12th of
12th.
November.
So we will be here next Thursday night, but the following week we will not be having a show on Thanksgiving because this is family time. And
Assuming you can travel out of state at least
or
without
at
having to
least with
quarantine.
your
That'd be nice.
family in the local area that you reside in. And I want to encourage everybody. I know that what's going on in the world today is depressing. I know that we're all on edge about a lot of things that not just what's going on with the medical and physical health, the health and welfare of most of every nation on the planet right now, but things that are going on inside of each individual nation at this moment in time are stressful and they have us on edge and we're sitting here waiting for results. We are going to get results. We are going to see what happens should Garrett Gilbert be allowed to stay and pilot the Pittsburgh or the Dallas Cowboys. Excuse my French right there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear by saying that name. Uh, I don't want to wish any ill for Ben Roethlisberger, but if he wasn't to play, it would not break my heart at all if he had to sit on the bench for a week or two.
Oh yeah, every football fan's had that thought of. I mean, I really hope like you lose your helmet so you can't play, or like you don't have a serious injury but you stub your toe so much you can't focus, like something like that. Like no serious injury. It'd be helpful if you didn't play against us this week.
Yeah, and I want to congratulate the Cleveland Browns on setting a record. They broke a record this week. Did you know that?
Which record? Because the ones they show on the graphics are oddly specific.
Well, they have managed to go 20 years without losing a game during a bye week.
Ooh, that is something only in Cleveland, folks.
Hey, it's a time to celebrate. It's a time to come together at a distance of 6 feet apart and celebrate.
Yeah, come somewhat together, not too close together.
Yeah, 6 feet. Maintain your distance. This gives new room to see. And I've always been that guy that didn't want people right up on my neck. So now look, it's mandated by law. You can't stand more than 6 feet from me, or else I have the right
Yeah,
to be upset.
I bet Dracula's really upset right now.
I don't know if he'd be wanting to bite people right now. It was transferred by like a bat, from what I heard. Oh, and by the way, the mink market is going to get flooded. Have you heard this one, RJ? Before we go, over in
No, I have
Europe, one
not.
of the countries over there, the new strain of the number 19, which is probably number 21, because they'll skip a generation because that's the way they do things in the world of medicine. But the new strain is found. They're going to call their entire mink population, 18,000 or plus animals, from what I understand. They're going to call them because they
Ooh.
have this mutated version of the virus in them. So the mink market is going to get flooded. Mink is going to go way down for those of you who want a real mink coat. And I know Pete is going to get pissed off at my comments, but I'm going to tell you what.
Listen, they made
RJ,
fun of Steve Irwin's death. I think gloves are off.
look, beef is good, lamb is tasty, and bacon is what makes the world go round. So, Peter, shut your mouths and eat a damn ham. Go make me a ham sandwich. Okay? Go make me a ham sandwich, Peter. On that note, folks, this is Harry the Booze Bob, RJ Ciancio. Remember, the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of those who express them, and only theirs, not necessarily the views and opinions of AFN Network, AFN Talk, or anybody else associated with the chicanery here on AFN Talk Live every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to follow us on social media at AFN Talk, all over hell and back. Got to get with Kevin Drake. I got some stuff for Instagram he needs to get up for me.
Oh God.
It's pleasant. It's pleasant. It's pleasant. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube. You can now subscribe to our channel and catch live feeds that you will not find here on Facebook Live. Okay? We're going to have some YouTube exclusive content, and then we're also going to have some website exclusive content. So go over there, check out the AFN network, get ready, because we're getting ready to do things here on the Alternative Football News